part of what makes this so appealing is that you have these big storylines and this idea of Pulp Fiction. It's, we're gonna, it's not a thoughtful drama. We're gonna be big, splashy, spectacular action. That's kind of the idea of Pulp Fiction, historically. But this is, there are these big premises, and we have all these crazy action, and a drug overdose, and a shot of adrenaline, and crazy acts of violence, and all sorts of different things happening. And I think because of the intensity of that action and the stakes of all that, then the conversations that they have is such an interesting counterpoint. And
Yeah.
I think that a lot of movies, this has a lot of copycats. I think there was just a wave of movies in the mid 90s through till today. I think a lot of people just want to make a new version of Pulp Fiction, or they're influenced by this kind of film. And I think partly that's just a natural, it's a great film and you loved it, so you want to make something like that. And I think that's natural. But I also think there's an element of like, well, if we have a couple shootouts and then we have a lot of just talking about stuff, that's
Mm,
the secret sauce that Quentin Tarantino figured
right.
out. And so, like, I can write a bunch of people just talking about stuff and then have some guns. And I think uh, that kind of copycat formula did not yield very many good films. And I
Yeah.
think there are a lot of films that are just really weaker versions of this that are playing on that, not realizing how much story there is in Pulp Fiction and how
Yeah.
much we get invested in these characters and how much happens. And I think everybody just thinks about the Big Mac conversation and thinks that that's what it was special about the movie. I
Yeah.
think they're missing so much.
It's not, it's that these conversations they're having like are on theme with what the movie's about, even if they're not brought up like you talk about it again. Like I was thinking about how, so they have this whole conversation with how one of Marcellus's guys gave Mia, his wife, a foot massage. And they have this whole conversation about whether that should be allowed. And he threw this guy off a 4-story building. Was that too far? Should he have done that? And that they kind of come to this conclusion of like, it did cross a line. Like it is an intimate thing that he did, but did it warrant that as a result? Probably not. But then you have Vincent goes on this date with Mia, and he's not supposed to, it's just like he's supposed to take her out and have a good time because Marcellus is out of town. But this whole time they're on this date, they keep crossing these little lines of intimacy. Like they share a straw, they have an awkward like an awkward pause. She ends up wearing his coat when they come home. They dance. It's like all those things, like on their own, not a big deal, but it's kind of in the same theme of a foot massage. Is that crossing the line? Did he cross a line with all these things, even though it's never brought up as that? And I think so. These conversations are weaved in and out, and the themes are there, and you see the themes continue to play out in these stories, even if you might think that conversation was just kind of a one off or just kind of there as like a side thing. Like it actually is part of the storytelling.